Alrighty, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I just, whenever we do things like right on 7, people are a little delayed. And by people, I mean me. So unfortunately, we're starting right on time. That's crazy instead of late. So we're looking at the wave line for EGL week number 4. It's actually pretty crazy how fast time flies. It's like a 7-week regular season, right? Clutch. I'm not wrong. I'm not like delusional.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, a 7-week regular season. We're on week number 4, so we're getting close to that. We're pretty much on that like halfway mark of the league. So, going into this week, there's a lot of. I think we're starting to see a lot more patterns and trends for the teams, and I think the teams are starting to really diverge into their stronger and weaker groups. So this week I'm joined by Clutch and Silent. Matt Pizza, for like the 900th time, has ditched us, even though he gave me predictions. But alas, whatever. We'll flame him later. And we're just gonna take a look at week number 3. So we had Literal Monkeys Fire versus Hyperion Sword. It was a 2-0 for Literal Monkeys. And we had CG Jesters versus Project Iconic. It was a 2-0 for Project Iconic. And last week we also had VBU Plutonium lose 2-0 actually to Collective Experience. And FTD Darken, which 2-0'd Aftermath Esports. So I think there are maybe 2 series, I would say, that really stood out more to especially some of the staff and, kind of the predictions overall. So, Clutch, I'll let you pick which series we start first.
All right. We're gonna. We know what. We'll save the best for last because everyone's gonna be talking about Aftermath dropping a series. All right. So we're gonna go to Clown Gaming Project Iconic. I think that was the other one because the other two are kind of like you could see them losing. But we'll go to Clown Gaming Project Iconic, and we actually have a Clown Gaming member in here.
It's true. We
So
got an
why not just
insider
put him on
D.
blast and be like,
Yeah.
"What happened?"
Oh, just the usual stuff. Great throws. We were ahead most of the game, but then we decided to, have a little fun and throw the game away. Other than that, yeah, I would say it was not a fun series by our part. Iconic definitely got the best of us this week, but next time we face them, it's not gonna be so fun for them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys opened with that Zeri pick in your first game, and then it didn't really go so hot. You had Zeri Soraka in that bot lane against the Caitlyn Rakan. So would you say that was this kind of like a whole team miscommunication, or are you that guys, don't worry, it was just my fault, my bad,
Yeah, we were hoping to get a lot more going with this area, but we lost an early fight, and Project Iconic played a style that we weren't really used to playing. They played a lot slower than we ever wanted to actually play. Their whole thing was they wanted to just kind of wait till we made a mistake, and they executed really well on the one mistake that we made, and we just lost the game from there. So this area wasn't able to actually pop off because we couldn't get anything going on it.
Yeah, so do you think you guys are going back to the drawing board, or is there, kind of oh no, it was just like a bad week kind of thing that happened?
Yeah, we're always looking to kind of just like find new things to do, and every time that something doesn't go our way, we say, okay, well, what can we improve on? Is the strategy just bad? Did we just play it bad? And if the strategy is bad, we'll just go and look for like kind of a new thing to drop. And if it was us, we just look to improve on the mistakes that we made there.
Yeah, that's fair. So Clutch, looking at this series, Project Iconic, this win does take them actually to a 1-2 record, which does even them up with Clown Gaming. So Project Iconic, after that first week, taking that 2-0, getting 2-0'd, I mean, against Aftermath Esports, we were kind of having a rougher look against Project Iconic. We were kind of having yeah, we're not really sure where this team stands. Like, was that just a rough week for them? And then I think even just strength of schedule, right? They went against Aftermath in that first week, then they went against VBU and lost to VBU that next week, right? And then they just beat Clown Gaming. So Clutch, through just looking at their schedule, right? Where are you seeing Project Iconic probably land in the standings?
Yeah, so I think Iconic to me probably look like a fifth to sixth place team, I would say. That's if I'm just saying right now, who am I counting out? I think Hyperion don't make it, but again, it is technically only week 4, and like it's really hard to predict, especially the like fifth and sixth place teams, because in the standings, top 4 is like 3-0, and then there's 3 teams that are 2-1, and then like fifth through seventh, they're all 1-2, and then Hyperion's 0-3. So like the standings are still a little bit close. There's just like a top 4 and bottom 4 now that have kind of solidified. But I think Iconic, they can sneak in. This week they're going to go against Hyperion, which is like a massive matchup for them because Hyperion, right? They win this, they then tie Iconic, right? They're right there in the standings. It's like big matchup for both those teams, but Iconic, they win. They're now 2-2. And I think it was last season, 6th place was 2 wins. There was a huge tiebreaker. So like if you get 3, you're probably going to make the playoffs because 6 out of 8 make. So like I think Iconic can make it into the lower bracket. Upper bracket, I don't think they're top 4. I'd say they're 5-6, but they've shown some strength, and I'm happy to finally see them solidify a play style and start to grow as a team. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. There's, like you said, you're seeing a lot of the top 4, bottom 4 teams, and there is only one team left that is 3-0, and one team left that is 0-3. So that's Literal Monkeys Fire being 3-0, and Hyperion Sword being 0-3. So, back to you, Clutch. What do you think about Hyperion Sword? Coming in as a team, well established org with a lot of recognizable names and players that kind of seems to be having a rough, time in that series. Even if they were to win every single week moving forward, they'd be 4-3 in the season. So, Clutch looking at, Hyperion Sword, what did they do? How do they turn around that season other than just, win 4 times in a row?
Yeah. They're switching out junglers. I know they're bringing in new junglers. They're trying to get something to work. One thing I will say is their mid laner Inferno SK. He's their star player. I'm just gonna say it straight up. Like this is their best player. I mean, I got the stats up here because yes, we do have stats that'll
We
be
have
released to the
some
public
real
very
homie
soon.
shout out to No Name and Wingman. You guys are so
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
Those two gave us stats, and I look at these. I'm like, their KDAs, they're all around like 1 at best. And then Inferno SK, one thing I will point out, this guy's 37 kills. And I look at the rest of the team, the next highest is 13, and that's Attila. And the team hasn't won a single game. They're 0-6. So, like, if I'm looking at this, I'm like, all right, we are playing around this mid laner. I pointed out that this guy is their star player. He's a pretty good mid laner. The rest of the team's like average, but they really need to play around this guy. This guy's got really good numbers for being on a team that is struggling. And I think if they play around this guy, for sure, they can win this week. They're playing Iconic. It's not like they're playing like LTMK Fire, who's like absolutely insane, literally on fire right now. They're not playing them. They're playing a team that is 100% beatable. They're right next to them in the standings. And one win, you're now tied with them, and you can turn around the season. So play around that mid laner, get Inferno SK, all the resources, and just try to get that guy to carry.
Yeah, and on the topic of, hot and fire, I would say that Jesus Juice on Literal Monkeys, it's literally Jesus Juice and 4 words. So I'm not dissing the rest of his players. It's more just you have one jungler and one player that is just obviously a cut above the rest that is just showing over and over again like, hey, I just need these like resources and then get into the backpack, guys. We're getting carried. So, being in that position of Literal Monkeys Fire, you're sitting comfortably 3-0 now, and being on. So my question then is, this week they're going against Clown Gaming. So my question for you, Silent, is Literal Monkeys, going against that team 3-0, perfect record in that season. What do you guys? Okay, I don't want you to like leak your strats or anything, but what would you say then? Is that how do you penetrate the 3-0 shield that is Literal Monkeys?
Yeah, the big thing to do against them is we just have to clean up a lot of the mistakes that we make. We have to just look to make sure that Jesus Juice can't find those opportunities to carry. Make sure we don't get out of position. Make sure we don't make these big mistakes, so they can't have an opportunity to exploit us. I think if we play a cleaner game around the map and a cleaner game overall, we can definitely have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go into a bit more detail, obviously a little bit later today, but yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. It's one of those things where, yeah, you find that 1-star player, and is it one of those, like, just 5 ban that person angle, or is it, you go into the series expecting that, they're going to play around this player. Obviously, going against this team in the fourth week rather than like the first week, you have some homework you can look at. You can, look at how they draft, what they like to play around early, what kind of champions they like to pick, and stuff like that. So you have a lot more data going into it. So I do think, your series would be a lot different going into it. Um, the other series we're going to look at next is VBU versus Collective Experience. So I think this is actually a bit interesting that VBU, I feel like it was a team that has a lot of strong players individually, but kind of seems to be missing the mark in terms of overall coordinated team play. So Clutch, as the owner of Valor Bulls United, twitch.tv/Valor Bulls United. Very good Twitch
Yeah,
name,
that's
bro.
me in the chat.
Yeah, who's that guy in the Twitch chat actually?
Yeah, I
So,
wonder.
VBU is now 1-2 in this season, right? Do you think that, because of, are they just going against like really really cracked teams in the early season? Week 1 they went against LTMK, right? And then the second week they went against Project Iconic, which was a team we weren't really too sure about, right? And they beat them actually. But then they took this 2-0 loss to Collective. So where does that put them in your standings?
Um, VBU to me is it's really hard because I look at the bottom 4 and it's Iconic, Clown Gaming, VBU, Hyperion, and 2 of these are going to make it, and 2 of these are going to miss playoffs, right? And right now, I mean, just based off the standings, I'm counting Hyperion out. So then it's Iconic, Clown Gaming, and VBU, and to me, they're all the same. Like they literally, there's not much of a difference in skill and how they play, and one team's just going to end up not making it. I could see. I feel like VBU would get sixth and be like maybe the last team in, but like it's gonna come down to week 6. I mean, week 6 is Clown Gaming versus VBU. Like in all honesty, that's the battle right there. For the playoff spot because I think both these teams they are struggling early on, and it's just really hard for me to pick one of them that's just above the other. I think VBU has a lot of good players, but they're lacking in team play, which can obviously get better during the season, right? But we saw last week. I mean, Brown Ale just split push and won the game. Like he literally just
Yeah,
sat there on
this
the
was
moon,
the
just ended the game.
stream match of last week. If you're actually looking, just looking at the numbers, Brown Ale, he ended 0-4-0, and you're thinking like, oh man, this guy must have like gotten carried, right? But if you're actually watching the stream and just looking at, numbers wise of gold, he was actually the richest member of the team.
Yeah.
Very close to 12K. The second person was like 10K on his team, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and we were watching the stream. He was just sitting, in the side lanes, had his hull breaker, and he was sitting fine and dandy. No one could stop him, right? Didn't matter. He had no kills, didn't have to kill anybody, and the important part was just he just split pushed, and VBU didn't know how to answer that.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I it's hard to say right now. I think I would put VBU at 6th or 7th, to be honest. I think Iconic shows a little bit more, like they look a little bit more cohesive than VBU. I think Clown Gaming would also be 6th, 7th, maybe just sliding in right there at that last spot. But it's so close between these 3 teams. I literally could flip a coin and it would be more accurate than what I'm saying, to be honest. Like it's so hard after only week 3. Give me another week and maybe I could give you a 100% definite answer of where I think these teams will go.
Yeah, and even in the second game too, where VBU let that Mundo go through again. So, then they're expecting like, okay, if
Yeah.
we don't ban the Mundo, they're gonna pick it again, and we have to pick something or change something that'll help us beat them, right? So they let the Mundo go through, and then Squig picks Set into it, I believe. And the thing is, like, I understand the Set pick if you're looking to ult everybody into that team fight. Mundo's that big tank, that huge HP bar is gonna slam into your teammates. But you just saw him sit in the side lane all game, right? Who are you gonna ult him into, right? And I think it was, I wouldn't say it's maybe like a player diff, but I do think it's back to the drawing board. We need to either just ban it and respect that we can't play against it, and pick something else that find that other playstyle that would work for them. So Silent, looking at these two teams, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, you guys went against Collective Experience the week prior to that one, so in the second week, and I don't remember if Brown Ale actually, did they do that same strategy against you guys? Split pushing Mundo?
I don't believe so. I think they played more on the bot lane, if anything. I could try and look up the exact answer if they did that. I don't recall them playing
Oh, yeah,
Split
he
Push Mundo at all.
played, so Brown Ale played Ornn, Shen, and then Malphite. So, weak side king,
Yeah,
tank duty.
yeah, pretty much. They like to play around their bot lane of Marty squared.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, both of them, I think, are strong bot lane. I think if they want to look to win games, that's how I think they play through them. But also, I do think Brown Ale on the top lane is strong in both the weak side and the split push style. They can do both of them. But I think if they're going to look to win games, I really think they should look for their bot lane to carry them.
Yeah, and I think Collective has been kind of flying under our radar, especially after that first week. They just like were silently picking up these wins. One against I think the first week, against Hyperion, and then just that last week against VBU. So this team is now sitting at 2-1, going into the season, and yeah, looking at that next week for them, they're against Aftermath. So with that, we're gonna look at that last series of FTD Darkened, actually 2-0 Aftermath Esports. So Clutch, we were talking about this before. FTD Darkened was one of those teams that started off really strong in that first week, and then um went against LTMK, kind of got smacked, right? So I didn't really know where to put them after that second week, right? I was like, people were thinking, was it a fluke or which one was a fluke? The first week, the second week, right? So looking at this third week, them 2-0 Aftermath Esports, where does that put them in the standings for you?
Yeah, they're a top four team. I think FTD Darken, after beating Aftermath, has proven that they're a legit team and they're here to play. This team, on paper, you look at these names and you might think to yourself, all right, I mean, they look like average players, maybe. They look okay, but no, this team's legit. They are contenders. They're a top four team. Um, I think, obviously, I said there's a bottom four and top four, and there's a decent gap between the teams. I think they can contend with some of the best teams in the league. They'll be against VBU this week, and if they beat VBU, that just solidifies my opinion that, hey, this team is not screwing around. One player I want to point out, Reigning Wolves, this guy's got a 6.60 KDA and he has 64 kills. Like, this guy is cracked. And another player who's at the top, Jesus Juice. I'm just saying, both these players played in EDL last season. They come up to EGL and they're absolutely smacking everyone. So
The
this season looks
elemental,
like
development
the
league,
development.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
development league.
How'd
Yeah,
you
once
know?
you develop them, and now they're cracked.
Hmm.
But a lot of the rookies coming in this season have really showed that, hey, we're not here to play. We're not here to just do average. We're here to destroy. All right, we are here to be one of the best. And Feed the Dream really has surprised me. Um, there's a little bit of concern when they go up against like teams that just have more firepower than them, like LTMK, that are basically just going to kind of slap them a little bit because they have more raw talent, raw firepower. But this team, where they lack in firepower, they have insane chemistry and synergy. So I can't wait to see how this team plays in future weeks. I think they are going to easily be a top four team, and they can take down some of the best teams in the league. They're the upset team this year. That is for sure. They're like the MIT of last season, sort of, in EGL, where they took down some teams, and you were like, wait a minute. So definitely looking forward to see FTD top four for sure.
Yeah, and even in the second game, what I liked from Aftermath is that they lost, and then they were on red side in that second game. They were so FTD picked Jinx, and they locked in Zeri Nautilus. A sane person would think that's the bot lane, right? And then they R3 Ari. So you think that's the ADC support and mid laner, but actually Zeri ended up going top, and Ari was in that bot lane, I think. So I like that Aftermath tried something different, but, maybe it was a little too spicy. I can't say for sure. I wasn't able to watch that series. But yeah, I'm going to have to, agree with everything you said. FTD is really starting to show and prove to everybody that, we're top for contender, top two, whatever you want to see them as now. I think it's a huge win against Aftermath. It was, a really heavily favored series for Aftermath. So with that, Silent, you went against Feed the Dream in that first week. And you guys lost to them, actually. So, was this something you kind of saw happening? I know you guys haven't gone against Aftermath yet, but going against FTD, is that kind of something you expected?
Honestly, I can't say I expected them to win the way they did. I did not expect them to 2-0 Aftermath. Thought if they were going to win, it would still be a close 2-1. But the fact they came out with that in a clean 2-0 victory, I am surprised. I do think FTD should not be like looked down upon or anything. I think they're super strong. Um, but I think they're going to be like Clutch said. I think they're going to be a solid top 4 team. And I'm not surprised they took down Aftermath. I am shocked the way they did it, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that teams, you know, you haven't shown all your party tricks yet. You get to the fourth week, and if everyone knows if you play the exact same comp and exact same champions every week, then they're gonna start banning, and then you're kind of out of luck, right? So I do like what FTD is doing and that they're pulling out more things and they're showing us more. So with that, we're gonna start going into the predictions for this week, and we're gonna start with FTD versus VBU Plutonium. Yeah, it's not looking super hot for the VBU fans out there because
Wait,
Matt Pizza, the staple VBU fan. Oh wait, I
wait,
wrote
this is
VBU.
wait a
All
minute.
right, hold
I
on.
was like, wait a minute.
Okay, hold on. I kind of had to rush these, so let me double check what Matt Pizza told me. Anyways, if anything, just ignore he's not even here, man.
Yeah, Matt Pizza isn't even here to defend himself. He's
Oh no, he actually no he did vote 2 on FTD this week.
everyone's
Okay.
voting FTD.
He actually did vote FTD. My bad. I had to make all these graphics like really rushed. But Matt Pizza actually did say 2-1 FTD this week, so ignore that. I'll movie matching it in a second. But so Silent at the very top, you said this was a 2-0 for FTD. Do you think it's just player gap? It's just this team has shown us so much more than VBU has.
I don't think it's player gap. I think it's genuinely team gap. I think the team just plays better together. I think they're overall more cohesive than VBU has shown at all this season. I think that I think that the players are probably a little better on VBU's side, but I think they play together better than a lot of the teams under them, and probably about the same as the teams like above them in the standings. I think they're a solid team that deserves to be where they are.
I'm movie magic deck, guys. Okay, it's fine. It's fixed. I swear. um, yeah, and same thing with you, Clutch. You said 2-1 FTD.
Yeah, so FT, they've looked very solid. I mean, after watching last week, I mean, VBU, I thought they would be, maybe that fifth place team can contend for the top 4. But after watching last week, I was like, okay, maybe I overhyped them a little bit. Maybe they're like a fifth, sixth place team. But yeah, I think FTD overall just plays the game much more cohesively than VBU, like Silent said. I think VBU has very talented players individually. They can for sure go pound for pound with FTD's players, but FTD for sure much more cohesive unit, and that's why I think they're going to win. I gave VBU a win, give them a little bit of an upset. You know what? They might take a game. And I just want to say every single time I've predicted the VBU games, I've gotten them all right. So I'm sorry, I might have cursed my own Oregon. They might lose.
You do this every season, though, man. You're always like, no, I vote against them because it's reverse psychology, right? They'll win if I say they're not gonna win.
Yeah, but this season's kind of the opposite. If I say they lose, they lose. If I say they win, they win.
All right, sorry, VBU fans.
But you know what? I still think they take a game. I think they take a game. They're gonna come in. FTD's gonna win game 1. VBU comes in game 2. FTD's laid back a little bit. They're like, all right, guys, it's okay. Then they take it to them. They take game 2, and then FTD's like, all right, let's clean up the mess, and they went 2-1. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think FTD for me is really starting to find that momentum and that stride when they're going into this series, right? I would say 2-0 just because, they have that confidence after, especially that last week, right? So I don't see them having any difficulties going against VBU Plutonium, but I kind of have to, on that same train of thought as you with that one game upset, or if VBU can sneak in that win, I think if they were able to really, really look at what happened last week against Collective and learn from their mistakes, say, what do we need to change? What picks can we do? I feel like especially last week, just looking at the stream matches, and VBU really didn't have that clear idea of what do we need to do to win, right? How do we win? I would say that, any team game plan is better than no game plan. So, um, that's what I would like to see, at least in this series. I would want to see VBU really try to have more of a, I guess, team identity. And, you have all these, really well known players. Like, I could just name every player on that roster, right? So, I don't know. It's maybe back to the drawing board. Maybe use this as like we just gotta try something, see if it works, see what sticks. But, that's this series, at least. And then if we take a look at that next series, we're at Project Iconic versus Hyperion Sword. So, Clutch, something, is there something cool on the other side, or what's going on?
Listen. All right. This is the upset of the week. All right. You got to have an upset every week. Okay. You can't just, pick the obvious team to win every week. This is it. Hyperion this week, they finally win a series. They turn the season around. And it starts this week. Why did I say that? I don't know. But they can do it. Inferno SK, play around him. I'm giving you a free strategy. Attila, better be watching this. Okay? Get your mid that counter pick. You play around them and win the series. It's winnable. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to go 0-4 and then you're not going to be looking too good. So they can take it. I believe in them. They are playing Iconic, which is a team that I actually think if they're going to beat any team, it's going to be like Iconic or like VBU or something. Like one of these teams that are lower in the standings than like an LTMK, right? Like they're not going to beat an LTMK. If I'm going to predict them to win against any team, I'm going to predict them to win against a team that's like 1-2. And I think they can do it this week. It's the upset factor. Inferno SK, this guy's going to go off. And now if he doesn't, I don't know. I'm going to look like a moron. So.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot kind of on the line for Hyperion, right? Like, you really have to start winning. There's got to be something that changes, especially going into this week. And like you said, if they're going to beat any team, it's probably going to be someone like Project Iconic. That's why I said a 2-1. I do think Project Iconic does have that momentum. They've shown us that they can play well. I think a name that we brought up before was Shy Winter, especially on that Zeri. Pop off, if they can play around something like that, or whatever else they've been doing in the past couple of weeks, then I can see Project Iconic coming out with a 2-1 in this series. But like you said, Clutch, this series really can swing both ways if, Hyperion is really that desperate for it. But on the other side, actually, Silent, you said it was just a clean 2-0 for Project Iconic.
Yeah, I think Project Iconic's a lot better than at least being someone that's played them. I think they're a lot better than they look on paper. I think that a lot of their pieces are finally starting to come together. They've got some strong, couple of strong laners. Let me actually pull up their names. Yeah, I think, all right, so Counter, and specifically Datholo in the jungle mid, they're both super good. Like, they've got a lot of strong synergy together. And I think that they can carry through those lanes. I know Clutch was talking about, put all your resources into Infernos, carry through mid. It's not going to be easy. They're not going to have a fun time with that mid jungle on the side of Project Iconic. It's going to be a hard matchup for them. I just don't see them coming together and getting their Hyperion, getting their pieces together and actually being able to take out Project Iconic when Project Iconic just seems like a more cohesive group than Hyperion has looked at all this season. They just look like everything has fallen apart since their lock-in tournament, like in the preseason. And I think that they're trying to get some pieces together within the next couple of weeks to make their team a little better. But right now, it's just not it. And I think Project Iconic is just going to swiftly take this.
Yeah, I mean, when you play in silver and gold, anything can happen. I say that even in platinum, anything can happen. And Clutch, you could probably argue for diamond, anything can happen. It's League of Legends.
Of course.
Someone like gets caught out randomly, or there's always going to be one thing that just randomly kind of happens. And I feel like both of these teams have some more tricks up their sleeve. There's something that I feel like they're not showing us. And I think this is the week where either Project Iconic is just, look how good of a team we are, or Hyperion takes that narrative and says, this is, I think they, like you said, made a few roster changes. I think, in the support and jungle position, I think, right? So, yeah, I think that's just how do they play around that? What does that change, right? Hyperion could be a completely different team with these two players. So, I think that's just what we need to look out for going into this week and this matchup. But we're going to take a look at the last and stream matchup of our series. I'm just kidding. I can't count. This is the third one. This is Collective Experience versus Aftermath Esports. So I think after Aftermath, oh, I hate English. After Aftermath lost last week, I think all of our votes have swayed to that Collective Experience side. While, Silent, you're still on that Aftermath train. Losing, I think, actually, they lost that first. No, they lost last week, right? So, after that, how do you keep your faith in a team like Aftermath Esports?
Yeah, I think that just one loss should not indicate like if a team is like bad or not. They should definitely bounce. I think they can easily bounce back after that loss, especially because FTD is just such a team that is like a giant slayer, I guess you could call them. I think that they should be able to beat Collective if they are able to attack the points in which Collective are weak. Mostly that top side of the map from the Collective, I don't think is as strong. They should look to if they have a strong bot lane from Aftermath. I actually have had a chance to play against them yet, but if they have a stronger bot lane to actually match up against Marty squared, they should be able to easily go if they go even in that lane and focus their top side of the map. They should easily be able to take this game. But no matter what, I think it's going to go to a 3-game series for sure. No matter what side takes it.
Yeah, I mean, Clutch and I obviously agreed, and Matt Pizza, who again is not here, we all agreed that it was just a 3-game series. I think I'm just kind of looking at strength of schedule, right? Aftermath in that first week went against Project Iconic, a team that I feel like has developed a lot in these last few weeks, but not in that first week, right? It was kind of a stomp for Aftermath in that first week, right? And then Aftermath went against Hyperion Sword, right? That team that's currently 0-3, obviously maybe having roster issues, I can't say for sure. And then, in their last week when they went against FTD Darkened, and that was that first loss they were handed. And looking at the strength of schedule for Collective, right? They went against Hyperion Sword in that first week, but then in that second week, right, they went against you guys so that in that Collective Cloud Gaming matchup, right? So then in that last week where they were actually able to beat VBU Plutonium, I just feel like Collective has had a little bit of a stronger schedule to the start than Aftermath. So I feel like Collective, I feel like this team has kind of been swimming under our radar for a little bit. We haven't really been paying too much attention to them yet, but actually 2-1. Both of these teams are 2-1 in series. So even then, on paper, it's something I want to see them prove themselves, and they've shown, even just last week, they've shown us that they kind of have what it takes. So I think that, after watching them play last week and watching Aftermath play in that first week as well, I do think this is a close 2-1 series. But Clutch, you also said 2-1 for Collective. Are you kind of in that same train of thought, or are you just saying this is the downfall of Aftermath?
So I think Collective is a lot better than people actually make them out to be. Like this team, despite like obviously losing the Clown Gaming week 2, they've looked pretty solid the entire season. And I think they're going to be number 2, number 3 team in the league. Like they are definitely a top tier team. I think this team for Collective, have they played? No, they haven't played LTMK yet. I think when they play LTMK, that's going to be a really, really good game because I think both the teams are actually kind of close in skill. One thing that I do want to point out for Collective, their bot lane, Mr. and Mrs. Marty, they've looked like one of the best bot lanes in the league. They look pretty solid. The team just has a very obvious way they want to play. Like they had last week, we did see them go through top, but they mainly play through bot. However, if you want to target their bot lane, we've shown Brown Ale, he can carry from the top side. He'll split down your Nexus if you don't do anything about it. So they have many ways to play in case, maybe option A goes bad. And I think Aftermath coming off of a loss last week, they haven't really played some of these top tier teams. They've played Iconic and they've played Hyperion, which are towards the bottom. So I think Collective can actually take this one. They've been showing me a lot of promise, and I for sure think this is going to go 3 games. I think both these teams are like super, super close. And in my eyes, this is the battle for second. Like whoever wins this is going to get second place, is what I'm just going to say right now. So definitely looking forward to it. Not the stream match for the week, but it would, if it was, it'd be a banger stream match, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see both of these teams ending up in that top four, right? Even then, like, you can obviously, like you said, you can't just say like, oh, on paper these are the better players, or these are the people with the higher win rates, or the better meta pool of champions. So I do think there's a lot going into this series too, because if Aftermath does win this series, I do think they'll be adding even more respect to their name. Like, sure, yeah, you beat the weaker teams in the series, like in their series in that earlier part of the season, but going against a collective experience, a team that is matched with you in record and has, had that experience against those stronger teams. I think this is that series for them to watch. There's a lot to prove, I think, especially in week number 4. Because if you lose, you're 1-3, right? And actually, I can't English. They're 2-1. So then they'd be 2-2, right? But if you win, you're 3-1. So that really creates a big difference, and I think this would be even a really strong tiebreaker series that would, be important later down the line, especially, like you said, top 6 make it into playoffs. All right, so Silent, my question for you is, between these two teams, who would you say is stronger, like both top side for both teams and bot side for both teams?
I think upside is going to have to go to Aftermath, and bot side would go to Collective. So I think if they both are able to play to those sides of the map, whoever plays to it better is going to take the win, honestly.
Yeah, do you think there's like a clear-cut difference between the teams overall, or do you think just then, 5v5, they're overall like closely matched in skill?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're very, very even in skill. Marty in the bot lane are super strong, and I would say that Buckby and I cannot pronounce that a name I will not try and pronounce. They're strong in the bot lane too, so I think it's going to be a super even matchup there. But I do think Marty's going to take the edge there. Fat Jester versus Brown Ale in the top lane. I think that matchup probably is going to go Fat Jester sided. But overall, 5v5, I think there is not a matchup this week that's going to be as close as this one is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot riding on this series for sure. So now we're going to look at the streamed series, because now I can count. Now we're on match number 4. It is Literal Monkeys versus Clown Gaming. So, Silent, I know you just talked, so we're going to let Clutch go on to his 2-0 prediction for Literal Monkeys.
Yeah, so Literal Monkeys, they look like the best team in the league. They look pretty strong. They're adding an ADC that is an exceptional AD carry. He's one of the best AD carries in probably all of Gold. And now that he's coming into this team, I don't know, they just look unstoppable. They're like Exodia. I mean, you have Jesus Juice, who is the best jungler in the league, hands down, and looks like a potential MVP candidate. Now you're going to give them an ADC that is an upgrade that is going to be the best at his position. You put him in, this team just looks absolutely cracked on paper. Like, I don't know how they're going to lose. Like, the only way I can see them losing is like they underestimate their opponent super hard, and like the other team just comes in with like some super cheese like thing and then ends up like taking them out. Like, this team, they should basically go 6-0 or 7-0 this season. Like, yes, they can drop a game, but they should go undefeated and be the number 1 team in the league. And if they're not number 1 at the end of the season, I'd be very surprised. I think the team does have some weaknesses. It's not to say that like the team is perfect. There are definitely people that you can target on this team to look for wins. But it's going to be really hard to stop Jesus Juice and Wonderworld from just 2v8ing the game. Like, those guys are just too damn good. And we'll see. I mean, Clown Gaming, they are on stream. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Kills is going to absolutely contradict everything I just said on how he's the best AD carry in the league. He's going to say that. And how he's going to absolutely destroy Literal Monkeys, right, Talon?
Yeah, let's go.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I think this team is extremely strong. They're definitely by far the strongest team in the league, and it's not like a question. Um, I think that hopefully we've got the right plans and set to take games off them and actually win the series without getting too into it. But I think I'm excited to play this team. I think that this is going to be like the hardest matchup this season by far.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I'm on that same 2-1 prediction for you, that this is going to be like fight of your life, where it's possible. Like this isn't like, if I was just looking by record, by just overall strength and overall just showing, then yeah, I'm going to have to be safe, and if I really want my prediction points and to look like the smartest analyst, I would say 2-0 like Clutch, like, the same thing that Clutch said. But I feel like because, you're here on the show, and I feel like there's always got to be something spicy every week. That, 2-1 for your team, just even under the fact that I feel like you've said, Silent, you've said a lot of great things about your team in particular, and that, you have a bunch of avenues that you can play around. There's not just one, like, super carry 1v9 player. That there's a lot of different players and strategies that you can execute. So going into the series, I feel like there's got to be something that you pull out of your hat and, surprise Literal Monkeys and everyone else on stream. But, don't leak any strats, right? You're on stream
Yeah.
tonight, so don't leak anything.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think I do think that's probably what's gonna take is something interesting, or maybe I'm just playing a nice poker face right here. Maybe nothing's interesting.
True. That's also a strat too, though, honestly. And I
But
think a
yeah,
player that...
make him. Oh, sorry.
No, you finish.
That's definitely the strat. Make him think we're doing something, or maybe make
Oh,
him think that we're
true.
just doing nothing.
Yeah, and I think
They'll never know.
you pointed out a player, Egyptian, your mid laner, and if you were to compare them to No Name for Literal Monkeys mid, so you're looking at two different players here. Who would you say? Okay, no flame or anything. This is just for fun, right? Who would you say would win in like that isolated 1v1?
Between Egyptian and No Name,
Yeah.
and a 1v1 scenario, Egyptian all day. There's no doubt.
Okay. We support the boys. That's what it is.
Absolutely. I think, yeah. No Name says in chat, other guy every time. No Name just No Name plays smart. That's definitely the thing about it. No Name's a smart player. Is not gonna get in that situation to like need to be 1v1 because he's just gonna sit back, farm, let his team carry him, and then when he has to carry, he's gonna step up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's something we're going to be looking forward to. So then for you, Clutch, between these two teams, right? Where are you thinking either is going to be the strong point for one team and the weak point for another?
Okay, so for the side of Clown Gaming, what's gonna be the weak point? I think there's many weak points, but I don't think it's gonna be bot lane, is what I will say.
Nah.
I think Kills is a beast, but
He's in the call, man. Go easy on him.
that's why I said I think he's a beast. Why I'm not gonna flame my boy. I would not do that. I'll start with LTMK because it's a lot easier. LTMK, again, super stacked roster across the board. I hate pointing out people and targeting one person, especially since like the quote unquote worst player on LTMK would probably still be like one of the best players in the league, right? Like he'd be one of the best players on any other team. I think you can target Donut in the top lane. I think he's an exceptional player and he's really, really good. But if you're going to make me pick one person that I think, who are we going to target? I think you would go after Donut because I'm looking at the stats here, and he does have the most deaths on the team now, but he's probably playing tanks and just dying for his carries.
He's weak side king, man. Okay, like, you can't say that.
You do that for sure. You do that for sure. Like I would die for my carries. I don't care if we're winning the game. We're winning the game, and I still think Donut would be one of the best players on any other team. Like this guy is still really, really good. But if I were to point one person out, it would be him. I think you can target Donut and kind of try to take him out of the game. But I mean, I don't really think it's going to matter because I mean, if you let Jesus Juice and Wonderworld play the game, I mean, it's kind of game over. For the side of Clown Gaming, what am I gonna say for the side of Clown Gaming? You know
You
what?
don't gotta be nice.
I know who to say. All right, this won't even flame anyone on the starting roster. All right, I'll just pick their E sub. Okay, even though he's probably played with them a million times, they're losing a ban for him. Okay, you know he's gonna be the one that ins. No, I'm kidding. But I can't really pick anyone specifically because I don't want to put this team on blast right now and kind of just go off. So I'm just gonna pick the E sub. I don't know. It's an E sub. You never know what they're gonna do. Then again, he's probably played with the team and he's probably pretty dang good. I mean, I look at him and he already looks like an exceptional mid laner. Or I could pick I mean, whoever he's e-subbing in for, I could just pick that player and say, hey, they didn't show up today. They're inting, you know?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
their
true.
weakling. The person who didn't show up is the weakling.
True.
Okay. He should have shown up and then they wouldn't have lose a ban. All right.
Yo, internet diff. That's what I'm saying.
True. One time when I played on a team with Matt Pizza, man didn't show up because he literally didn't have internet. He was like just moving and his computer was literally on a box. And he's like, hey guys, this is my setup, right? Good times for sure. Yeah, I mean, looking at both of these teams, and I wouldn't say it's you're not like looking from the very bottom up, but it's definitely obviously very favored towards Literal Monkeys. Yeah, so for the stream match, I think there's a lot to prove. And any final words you want to say to your friends or any fans of Clown Gaming Silent?
Yeah, for all the Clown Gaming fans out there, I know you're all 10 of you.
Yeah.
We got this, guys. Don't worry, have faith still. We'll make it back. Playoff run back, don't worry.
Playoff run back. I like that. And yeah, and with that, I guess we're just gonna end a little bit early tonight. We're gonna get ready for the stream match of Literal Monkeys Fire versus Clown Gaming Jesters. Hopefully we see you guys there, 8 p.m. Eastern. As always, good luck to everyone that's playing. You too, Silent, you're in the call. I'm gonna give you like a pat on the back.
Winning!
Yay!
Make it interesting, please. It's the
True.
stream match.
We'll try.
Yeah, and it's gonna be very special because I'm going to be like multitasking tenfold. So it's gonna be Clutch and I on the cast because Matt Pizza again didn't show up. Yay! So hopefully we see you guys there for the stream match. And other than that, that's all we got for you guys tonight.